Welcome to the Liberated Feminine Podcast. I'm Lucy Lampy, your host, and in this episode, we're exploring myths about boundaries and detachment. And now, first, I want to actually unpack that word, detachment. A lot of times, especially in the conscious/spiritual communities, we will hear this concept of detaching, right? And I think that just as with any new concept, right? We see the light, we're like, oh my God, I've been codependent and now I need to do it all on my own. We swing from one extreme to the other, and this is no exception to that. And something that I have seen a lot and that I have personally done myself, guilty as charged, is going from this awareness of, oh, I am, let's say, disorganized attachment or anxiously attached, or I have these unhealthy attachment patterns that are creating more pain in a relationship, go to the extreme of, well, I am just going to detach. I'm going to be nonchalant. I'm going to not care. That's a them thing. That's a you thing. And oh my God, can this create some collateral damage? And you know what? Hey, so is the curve of consciousness, the expansion of consciousness, and the journey of growing and learning and all these things. So I'm hoping to perhaps save you a little bit of heartache and or clarify some things that might feel a little bit murky right now as you are navigating healthy relationship and how to be in your liberated feminine essence and fullness and power without denying what your heart really deeply wants, which is to be seen, which is for your heart to be known, which is intimacy and vibrance in your relationships. And detachment is not what you want. Detachment will not support that. Now, there is a big difference between detachment and non-attachment. Very slight semantics shift here, but completely different energy. Now, non-attachment is not about just going with the flow and well, let's just see where this goes. No, non-attachment invites us to be fully immersed in the experience of life. Refusing to withhold love or depth or excitement, despite knowing fully well that we are not guaranteed to keep that. Despite knowing fully well that it could end at any moment. Only when we are truly non-attached to an outcome or too clinging to something can we enjoy it. Can we experience the pleasure, the joy, the peace, the gift of it? On the other hand, detachment reinforces our barriers to love. Detachment feeds our ego's need to control. It says, hey, you can't hurt me if I detach from you first. You can't abandon me if I abandon you first. Perhaps not physically, but emotionally. If I withdraw my love, if I withdraw my affection, if I never give it to you in the first place, if I'm detached emotionally, if my love is detached from you, then I can't get hurt. But that is all an illusion. See, non-attachment is humbling and vulnerable as fuck because it cracks us open to love. Not once, not twice, again and again and again and again and again. And personally, all throughout the last year, oh my God, making a connection with someone after my divorce, and really having this sense of non-attachment, not detachment. I told him from the start, hey, I am not someone who will withhold my love because I am afraid. I am not someone who will pretend that I'm not excited about things because I'm afraid of losing them. I can have that fear and I can make a bigger choice anyway. And literally, I'm telling you all, from that first week, the first couple days of connecting, I was like, listen, man, I'm not fucking around with my heart. Like, if I'm feeling you, I'm feeling you. And if I have this deep remembrance this soul recognition, I'm not going to be nonchalant and play it cool. I'm also not going to be just all about you. I have my own life. I have my 4 kids. I have my business. I have my purpose here. I have a passion for the things that I do. And my life didn't become him. It didn't become all about him. Oh, but he was some delicious icing on top, let me tell you. But every single step along the way, from just connecting to finally meeting in person, because we initially started connecting long distance. We were in different countries. And then furthermore to what happens after. Okay, what is this now? What is happening? To taking the leap when I had the surgery to have my tubal ligation reversed and get my tubes rejoined, because I felt the presence of the spirit babies that wanted to come through the 2 of us, to packing up life in California and both of us deciding mutually to land here in Ecuador. I mean, every single step of the way, I've had to be not attached to an outcome, to say, you know what I do this, does this feel like where my soul is calling me to be and calling me to do? Even if I have no guarantee that he's going to stick around, if I have no guarantee that he is, gonna be my committed life partner, or that he's, expanding who he is to be able to really hold a whole family, I just had to trust my intuition and trust what that deep knowing was telling me, and not be attached to A, the way that it would happen, and B, any particular outcome. And also he had to really feel that, because of his background and everything, and his own pains and wounds. He really had to feel that from me, that I was not detached from love, but I was not attached to him performing or doing or deciding a certain thing. And that gave him the freedom to choose from an authentic, aligned place. And it just so happened that brought us closer and closer together. And now here we are having a baby together in 4 months. So, there's so much to be said about this whole bonkers idea about let's just see detachment. Let's go with the flow and see what happens. There is a level of, yes, surrender and trust, but that is not nonchalance. That is not being nonchalant. You're still intentional. We were both still intentional about what we wanted. This is so important. This piece is so important. You're still moving with intention and with vision and with purpose and with a higher devotion to love, a higher devotion to whatever your soul path is. All right. So now then, moving on to boundaries. And I like to talk about both of these because often they are intimately related and also equally misconstrued and misunderstood. Now, often we think of boundaries as like these prickly, hard fences around us. This is like, no, this is my no. You don't do that. You don't talk to me that way. I will not accept this behavior, et cetera, et cetera. But what if you could release attachment to those hard, prickly boundaries and instead pour more energy? I'm not saying completely don't be aware of your no, but pour more energy into embodying your yes. This is a radically different way to approach boundaries. The other thing is that when you are in, let's say, for example, a relationship that is aligned and deeply anchored in love and truth and not just running off of ego and pain and wounds, there will always be a degree of that. Come on, like, let's be real. We're here to heal together and walk each other home, right? But when you are aligned in a place of alignment with someone, again, just one example, there's not going to be as much need to keep reasserting your boundaries. If you find that you keep having to reassert a boundary, like, don't talk to me like that, stop yelling, don't throw things, don't, and this goes on for time, even years, honey, maybe it's time to reassess some things. Even in my marriage, in my former relationship, I remember really coming into my own, my voice of that, no, you won't talk to me that way. Don't yell at me. I will not be yelled at. I will not be talked to like that in public. And we were both very much running off of our traumas and all of that stuff, just very not so much responsive, but very reactive, both of us. And so this was part of me learning how to assert my no. And he changed. Because he cared. Because he really did care about how things impacted me. So those behaviors, those boundaries that I was asking for an adjustment in the behavior that was harmful and hurtful and painful, he was willing and open to working on those. He was committed to that. Had he not been, I would have been the hell out of there. But this is a key distinction between something that, hey, you know what, we're working on this together. We're in this healing container. We're on this path. We're on this journey. And we're doing our karmic things and we're working through all that stuff. And there is growth. If there is a stubbornness and well, that's just how I am, then again, girl, time to reassess some things, perhaps. Now, when I was able to shift to embodying more of my yes, I know that my story of what even led to my divorce and how it all unfolded and so suddenly, and how he needed to go on his own path that was very distinctly, clearly misaligned with my path and our families, our kids' path. That's a different thing. I can't get into that here. This is a whole thing. And a lot of that too, I don't share publicly because there are some tender topics around mental health and spiritual journeys that, are complex and sometimes, lead to some really painful real life in the 3D circumstances. So when I started to embody my yes, I feel like that's when things started to shift. Like it gave him permission to be more of who he was and for his soul to begin to kind of, go where it needed to go. That was going to not be with me. Interestingly, the more I did embody my yes, he did reflect back to me the things that I was saying yes to. Now, there were still things that I was saying no to in my spirit that his spirit was saying yes to. Eventually, those things won, because what your soul's here to do, that's what your soul's here to do. We're not here to change the soul contracts that we made ahead of time before we came into this life. But moving from that place of my embodied yes, I see now, I truly deeply believe, is what opened the reality that I'm in now, where so much of what I had been saying, yes, universe, I want this. Yes, I long for that. Yes, I desire this. Yes, I am opening myself to that over multiple years, just started to really come to me, because they're like homing beacons, these signals sending out like beep, 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 and it's calling in, magnetizing in these things that I was saying yes to. And when you embody your boundaries, the energy that you have accessed within yourself, that actual embodiment, it is who you are. You are it. It attracts more of that. And it repels, naturally, what isn't that. This is your protection. And so then you start to need less of those no boundaries, because your embodiment of what you want and what you're clear of who you are and what you're worthy of and what you deeply desire is just sifting out all the riffraff for you. This is happening on a very subtle, very powerful, potent, energetic, subconscious level. And you can call this, quantum leaping and or shifting timelines or jumping timelines, coming into a different reality. However you want to think of this, but this is really where that magic happens. As you begin to embody your yes. Like looking at a menu, you don't look at everything that you're saying like, no. You're looking and you're scanning. What am I saying yes to? Knowing that when you say yes to one thing, you're automatically saying no to all those other things, unless you're ordering the whole menu. You know what I'm saying? But when you say yes to one thing, you say no to many things. And something that I'd like to invite you to explore, especially right now, as at least in the Northern Hemisphere. Here we're in the equator, so we're like, smack dab in the middle. But still, my body has been very much in the rhythm of North American equinoxes. So spring equinox in the Northern Hemisphere. And with that fresh spring energy, clean out some old shit. Just clean your closet, clean it out, clean your garage, your house, your kitchen, the junk drawer that, you just like stuff a bunch of random shit in. Have this cleansing. Maybe do a deep cleanse in your hair. Do, a soak, a ritual shower or bath where you're really cleansing the season that you have just walked out of. Baptizing yourself in your newness and who you're stepping into being now in this part of your life. And what this has to do with boundaries too is that you're practicing saying yes. This is who I am becoming. And in that cleansing out of the old stuff, the things that you're not wearing anymore, whatever that may be for you right now, you're also automatically saying no to things. You're like, okay, goodbye. Goodbye to this. I don't need this anymore. This doesn't serve me. But to release things with gratitude. And this is not something that we would usually associate with boundary work. But you are setting a boundary of self-love by only choosing to keep around the things that you are saying yes to. And this is such a simple but powerful way to practice that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. What is resonating for you? How have you maybe been in the loops of detachment instead of non-attachment? Kind of aloof or nonchalant to your desires and therefore pushing them away because the universe is like, you don't want that? All right, cool, bitch. Never mind. You're so detached. You don't want to receive anything. Like you don't even want anything. So making your desires known and then being unattached to when they happen or how they show up. How has this been showing up in your life? Or how's this boundary work going for you? How can you embody more of your yes? Thank you for tuning into this episode. And until next time, here's to liberating your wild feminine heart.
Bring the bass, give me a taste, they me the waste. I'm your little plaything.